Hi, Marty McCoy from Bobaflex.
Shaun from Bobaflex.
That's what we did when we were starting this band. We would practice 6 to 8 hours a day. We would do 2 a days like a football team.
Nice.
You know, we played some shows and we were that band. I thought we were great, man. They want to hear another song, man. And we started playing with some bigger bands. Got lucky enough to open for Kid Rock and Stained, and we're smart enough to realize they are blowing the doors off of our live show.
Right.
If we want to compete with them, it's time for a change. So we went into it like we were a UFC fighter and practiced 8 hours a day. And now we'll blow your doors off.
Nice.
For you had mentioned the technology, being able to produce your own album.
We've
at
produced
home.
our own records for a very long time.
Do you think though, like you were talking about, a lot of these bands coming out that sound alike, these local bands coming out and opening, and everything's kind of the same, and you've been around the country, so you're seeing the same thing around the country. Do you think that technology though too is giving people might be hurting us in a sense?
Yes.
Because everybody thinks that they can do it now. So,
Yeah, and
so
you're
the
not
quality maybe is not
Yeah.
there anymore.
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go back in time in the 70s and go into a rock club and see if it was the same concept and see if, there's just shitty bands all over and always have been. And there's always, just a few diamonds in the rough that stick out and are talented. But, I mean, in the same conversation, I've seen some really, really good bands that no one's heard of in a club on a Wednesday night. That, kids are 19, 20 years old and just like, holy shit, where did these guys come from? So, I mean, I hope it's always been that way.
Right.
I hope we're not in the age of music where
It's the worst.
Maybe just the technology with the days of YouTube and
Anybody
instant
can put-
access,
anybody
that
can put
it's
out a
more in our
record.
face,
Yeah.
possibly.
I would say we have more access to it. It's the same way with news and murder, It's
Right.
always been going on. Now you can just click on there's several channels that are going to show it to you over and over again.
Right.
So I guess, you're bombarded with it a little bit, but
What you're saying, technology hurting, yes, because it makes it's more to sift through. To see something independent, that's the one thing. If you got money behind it, you're going to stick out up here because you're going through avenues that everybody didn't have the money to go through. So you're,
Right.
But there is, go through YouTube and find a diamond in the rough. Good luck. You're going to be looking for a very long time.
yeah.
The fact that everybody shouldn't be doing it. Same way of filmmaking and everything.
Right.
It does allow the average Joe to be able to do. But you can watch YouTube, and I've had friends show me watch this guy's videos. They're really funny, and they're not funny. And they're funny to a couple people. A few thousand hits on YouTube doesn't mean you're a sensation. I mean, you got to get up there 500,000 million before pop culture's catching on to what you're doing.
Right.
And a lot of people, man, you're in that Facebook star era because they do have every band's on YouTube at some point. And they get a couple hundred hits and they think they're doing great. I mean, I've had people tell us that on some small stuff we did that just came out because you guys are up to 800 already. I'm like, that's not that big a deal, man. I mean, let it go for a while. But I think it definitely does congest up things and
Definitely bottlenecks things and makes it harder to find quality material. But it's out there. It's definitely out there. And we've actually produced bands ourselves and found some of these bands and brought them in and kind of cut the time in half. Like, okay, all these mistakes that we made, we're going to stop you from making these mistakes and kind of help you out and let you do your own thing. But, don't do this and don't do that. You're just wasting time. And this is something that, it's taken us 8 years to figure out.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. And we have found some really good bands out there. And we have our own record label, and we're kind of bringing bands into that. And it's just, I'd say it's always been this way. There's always been some guys that can afford guitars and never learn how to play them and just wanted to get chicks, and it's like, and then there's the guys that learn how to play the guitars and then got the chicks.
Right.
Yeah.
For the local bands, what would you like to say directly to them that could help them?
Rehearse. If you are worried if your girlfriend's pissed off and you can only practice 1 day a week, this ain't for you. If you're worried that you're going to go out on the road and the first show you play there's not 1,000 people there, this is not for you. If you're worried that you can't make, you're not making any money yet, go back to your job and talk about how you used to be in a band, because this is something that you put your life into. If you really want to compete with the Rage Against the Machines and the Paul McCartneys and all that stuff, this is a lifestyle and something that they have, just like a UFC fighter or anybody else, they have put their heart, blood, sweat, and tears and soul into. And if you're going to waste everybody's time, do it in your garage and stay in the garage.
Plus, just on top of there's just things like fundamentals from basketball to tuning your guitar in anything, sports, music, fundamentals. If your drum kit, you have to have a little bit of mindset to know that if your drum kit sounds like a bunch of Maxwell houses, you shouldn't put it in a club and mic it.
Yeah.
And and it's these are things you can figure out, like tuning and being in the same chords and feedback and tone, and these are things that take time to develop. I get it.
Right.
No 14-year-olds out there.
Yeah, and ask when people give you advice. I mean, you don't have to listen to what everybody says, of course, but when people give you sound advice, listen and pay attention. And there, on the other hand, there is the next big guy out there, and the next big thing out there, and the next great sound out there, and those guys will rise to the top, and they'll do what they need to do to get there. And everybody, like I said, everybody else that's can't make it to practice and would rather get drunk, and sometimes practice isn't fun.
Right.
But you have to go and you have to be there. And if not, the guy that's practicing, he'll take your head off and no one will remember your name.
Right. During the course of these interviews, a couple of points that comes up a lot about the stage is professionalism.
Yeah,
And to respect it.
absolutely.
To save your drinking for afterwards. And
Absolutely. Unless you're like us, who can drink all the way through the night and then the next day and still play.
Right. Now.
It takes a long time to do
That takes practice as well. That takes 8 hours a day, drinking and
You got to
playing.
build your system up.
It's just if you expect someone to give $10 and walk through the door and watch your show, it's like you have to do something special, and you have to at least have the fundamentals down and sing in key and be in time together.
Relatively, or have a lot of attitude of moxie.
Yeah.
Right.
Something to make people stand there and watch. It's really not that easy. And
Not everybody can be Steve.
Oh man,
Vai.
yeah, bands complain about the scene and stuff. It's like you're gonna have to do something to make people want to watch you. I mean, do you really honestly think you're that awesome that there should be 400 people just eating up what you're doing?
Yeah,
I still have issues and think, God, we suck tonight. No wonder that guy in the back walked out.
Right.
To this stuff consideration.
Yeah, and I mean it is hard, and it's hard to. I mean, you can be the greatest band in the world, and nobody knows you're coming to town, and nobody knows who you are. Doesn't matter, It's like you have to take care of everything in this day and age. Record labels don't have squillions of dollars anymore. They're getting laid off. People are getting laid off in the record industry that had been there 30, 40 years and had hits with Metallica, and I signed Shaun down and all that stuff. And they don't have jobs anymore.
Right.
It's so. It's an opportunity for the artist to take control of his own, and artists don't like to do that a lot of times. Artists like to, lay back and get drunk and be the artist, and that's not the case anymore. The business now is the guy in the front seat of the van on his iPhone promoting the shit out of the show, making sure all the flyers are up, calling the radio stations himself, and doing all these things, and that's where it's at.
And it is a business. They need
It's
to treat
absolutely,
it like a
yeah.
business.
It's the days of being a 21-year-old kid in Motley Crue and having, a stadium packed, and you don't have to do anything but make sure that you get onto the bus at 2 in the morning. That's over with.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn shame it's over with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a damn shame that's not the way it is.
Very cool. Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
It's the positive side. This is the best job you can possibly have. But it is a job, and you have to take it seriously. But it is one of the most rewarding things. I get to travel around the country with my brother, and the other guys in the band are like brothers, and we've become very close. And I respect them all as musicians and their songwriting. I love to get in the studio, write with them. I love to go perform our songs, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. It takes a lot of hard work to get there, but it's worth every second. It's worth
People
every second.
give you stuff.
Free stuff.
Free stuff.
He's just in it for the free stuff.
Free stuff. Girls who wouldn't have liked me before, now they like me.
This guy, tell you what,
Yeah, and
Rock and roll.
that's really
lady slayer. I'm telling you.
that's one of the best parts. It's, and people giving you stuff. That's always cool.
But it's an awesome industry. It's changed, and you have to adapt with the changes. But it's to be able to play guitars and say that's your job. I mean, it's one of the greatest feelings on the planet. And we get this radio hit under our belts, and we got another one that's coming after the Sound of Silence hits the radio. We got a no-brainer, surefire #1 hit. It's it's gonna be, we'll be one of those bands that can say, well, we bought houses and we got cars and we pay our bills, and if we have kids, they're going to college and all that stuff. So
Yes.
so
Yep.
it's definitely, there's a science to it. but you can learn it and you can work it to your advantage. And it's taken us a long time to realize that.
They never tell you too when you get a single one on the radio and it's just playing and people know who you are and people are coming out. They don't ever tell you that it's time to start wearing condoms. You're not in your hometown anymore.
Right.
You're in Rockford, Illinois.
The home
When the big boys play.
Yeah,
the bad stuff happens.
The bad stuff happens.
Wear
in
condom.
Rockford, Illinois.
Telling you.
But yeah, it's just an absolute pleasure to be able to do this. And I mean, people come out and interview you on fancy HD cameras, and you get fed and you get paid to play music.
Free food.
Free food. You get paid to play music, and you get paid to create, and we get to go in the studio together and try things out, and new guitars, and we get given free guitars and amps and all that stuff, and it's great. I love it, and I'm glad I'm not a banker or a politician or something.
You wouldn't believe some of the buffalo dip I've tried out on the road, man. Blew your mind.
Buffalo dips.
And on that note, thank you very much, man. Now,
You
this MusicCon
appreciate
thing,
it.
I was up just like Comic-Con.
For sure, for sure.
MusicCon Worldwide, Bobaflex endorses this message.
Excellent.